Why is Clemson losing recruits? Everybody's going crazy. They're screaming. They're wetting the bed. They're upset. The forums are filling up. Everybody's losing their mind. They're losing every recruit. Okay, that's an overreaction. That's an overreaction, and you know that. Hey, I'm going to dive into that on the show here in just a second. Thanks for joining me. I'm Brian. I'm glad you're here. Glad we're talking football, Clemson football. And if you're new here, I hope you will subscribe and you'll pass it along to anyone else who likes to talk college football, mostly Clemson football, but college football. Also, a really, really quick, early happy 4th of July to everyone. Today's the 3rd, but we live in the greatest country in the world. I love our country. It's not perfect, but no country is. So happy 4th of July to everyone. Let's dive in. So I purposely did not do a video yesterday on why Clemson is losing recruits. I almost did this yesterday, and transparently, my head was hurting. My head just got to hurting. I'd been working, and I got a trip coming up, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to talk about this. And it was like, no. Do it tomorrow. So, as some of you may know, an offensive lineman Clemson was going after committed to Wisconsin. We had another, I want to say a DB commit to Florida State. I want to say last week there was a quarterback that we were targeting, and he ended up committing elsewhere. And people are starting to freak out. And I get it. But this 2025 class that we have coming up, and remember, anyone can decommit at any moment. We've seen this happen 100 times. Remember, 3 years ago, we got IMG'd. You remember that when like 3 players decommitted from Clemson, like overnight, if that. And that's a big deal. That's a big deal. It happens to everybody. I mean, Georgia had a quarterback who was going to play for them. The guy moves from Arizona to Georgia, moves in there, an hour and a half, hour or so away from from Athens, Georgia, and then he ended up decommitting and signing with Nebraska. I know he has a family member on the Nebraska staff, but I mean, everybody thought they had him. So this happens to even the very best of them. So first, I want to say to Tiger fans, this is going to be one of those that for some of you, you're used to me just being super pessimistic, or so you say. I don't think so. I think it's realistic. I'm going to go ahead and tell you, I'm not offering you an olive branch today. I'm offering you the truth. I think that's a bit of an overreaction. I think it's a bit of an overreaction that just because this past 2 weeks, 3 people said, "Hey, we're going to go elsewhere." Now I'm going to address the other side of this in just a moment, but this 2026 class and just for, or 2025 class, excuse me, that I'm referencing, I'm looking at it right now on 24/7 Sports. Clemson is ranked number 9 overall. And if you're like, where's your source? I just told you my source. Clemson 24/7. If you go to 24/7 Sports right now and look up Clemson's 2025 football commits, they have 13 hard commits, and they're ranked number 9 in the country. Again, any of these guys could decommit. Now, let's talk about the frustration that some of you share. And I have this too, but I'm trying to be even keel in certain areas without overreacting. Let's address the frustration in the room. Has Clemson been recruiting at the level that they did when they were on that great run with, Trevor Lawrence and Deshaun Watson? And the answer is no. And that is what's ticking off everyone. You look at our quarterback room. Our quarterback room is underwhelming. Well, what fixes that? Well, the transfer portal could help. The transfer portal bridges gaps until you get your recruits in or you develop those recruits that you brought in. They're just young. Well, Clemson doesn't use the transfer portal because that is not Dabo's philosophy. He wants nothing to do with it. I believe it was Coach Swinney that said something like, not verbatim, but I think he said something like the guys in transfer portal aren't good enough to play at Clemson. Something like that. Though the guy who caught the game-winning touchdown against Clemson for Florida State was out of the transfer portal. I digress. But, so Swinney doesn't believe in using the transfer portal, all right? And so teams like Georgia will use the transfer portal, even though they recruit great, so they can contend for a championship now and not wait for that talent that's coming, or maybe they're young and they're there to develop. So they can contend for a national championship now, not in 3 years. And if that option is open to you and it's the rules allows it, it would be you who says, I'm not going to use the transfer portal. We've been down this road. But here's where I really get like finicky. By the way, 39 of you in here. It's almost, well, it's 4 o'clock right now, heading into the 5 o'clock hour. I hope you've hit the thumbs up. Hope you've subscribed. If you like what I'm doing, it's free. It's a great way to support the channel for $0. But here's the part where I get irritated, and probably some of you, not all of you, but some of you. Okay, well, if our coach has given us 2 national championships, 6 consecutive playoff appearances, 12 consecutive 10-win seasons, very impressive, not taking away from that. And I'm not being condescending or sarcastic. The guy did it. If he doesn't want to use the transfer portal, but he wants to use high school ball to bring in these players, handle regular recruiting to bring them in. My question is, why is it that Ohio State has 3 or 4 guys in their quarterback room that could start anywhere? Folks, they're loaded. How is it that they have that, but Clemson can't have that? Ohio State has NIL. They focus on NIL, but so does Clemson, supposedly. They built this beautiful facility to handle NIL and blah, 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 blah. So if I offer a player $500,000 to come play football at Clemson versus $500,000 to go play at Oklahoma, wouldn't you want to come play for a guy who has 2 national championships under his belt? Okay, there's another area of friction. What do I mean by that? Well, there's only one other guy that's coaching college football right now that has 2 national championships, and that's Kirby Smart. So you either want to play for the coach, you want to play for Kirby Smart, who has won a national championship, 2 of them in the past 3 years, and as a front runner for that, so you're into winning. You're like winning, and I believe he can put me in the NFL more than Clemson. Is that it? Folks, I'm not kidding. I'm seriously trying to figure this out with you. And I want you to offer your comments. I know some of you are going to be as condescending as possible, and that's fine. If you want to get really, really, if you just want to be rude about a pastime, if that's really where you get your kicks, go for it. I mean, I have more important things to be rude about. But I would like to hear what your thoughts are. Why would someone want to go play somewhere else if both teams are offering them the same amount of money? Here comes the friction point. Unless we're not offering money to players. Let's pause there. And I'm talking about we're not offering players money. Players coming out of high school. Through NIL, offering them these deals. How is it that Arch Manning is patiently sitting behind Quinn Ewers, and he hasn't transferred out. It's money. That's it. And he's a Manning, and he doesn't need the money. He doesn't. But he's sitting there. One of the biggest recruits in years, he's sitting there. Unless we're not offering the money that Ohio State, Alabama, Georgia, everywhere else, they're offering it. I had a conversation with my dad yesterday. He's a big Clemson football fan. In fact, my dad will hit me up. In fact, he might be watching right now. He'll hit me up and say, hey, did you see where so-and-so happened? He stays way more in touch with like the forums and all that much stuff than I do. And I was like, no, I missed it. Thanks for calling me. You know. But he said this, and he's right. He said if it's allowed, meaning if we're allowed to use NIL to pay players, and everybody is paying players via NIL, why are we not doing it? Okay, you don't want to use the transfer portal, but why aren't you paying the players? You say you have NIL. You say it's well funded. You say you don't want to pay these guys out of the transfer portal and guarantee them playing time, but I thought high school was your thing, that you were going to bring in the high school players. How is it that Ohio State has 4 quarterbacks that could start anywhere, but Clemson has a quarterback issue on their hands? The backup quarterback hasn't developed like everybody wanted. I'm not knocking Christopher Vizina. It's just that's the reports that I'm reading and the things I've watched. The things I've watched. Good grief. Long day, y'all. Long day. When I've watched him play, you can just see he's struggling. Trent Pierman, the walk-on, looked the best of all 3 quarterbacks in the spring game. I'm not saying start him over Cade. I'm just saying he did. Sorry, you can't erase that. You can't unsee that. It's like walking in on an old woman bathing. You can beg God all you want, but he's not going to erase your mind. You can't unsee what Trent Pierman did versus the other guys. And you can't change that somewhere like Ohio State has a bunch of quarterbacks in their quarterback room, and you're like, how are they keeping them? How did that one guy decommit from Alabama as soon as Saban said, peace out? I'm going to go live in one of my several vacation homes and make appearances here and there in college football. And that guy goes to Ohio State. How did they get him? Folks, let's not be like Bobby Boucher's mama. For some of you who are missing that reference, you remember the movie The Water Boy with Adam Sandler? Hilarious. Love it. Bobby Boucher's mom, played by what's her face? Gosh, she's hilarious. Put it in the comment section. I have the comment section turned off right now just so I can focus. Kathy Bates. Kathy Bates, that's it. Let me tell you this, and I know there's much comments in here. I'll get into it in just a second. I'm not ignoring you. It's just I'm trying to focus. Kathy Bates plays his mom, and she doesn't want him to play football. She said, football is of the devil, Bobby Boucher. You know what we act like at Clemson? NILs of the devil, Bobby Boucher. As soon as the roosters roost and the crows, oh, that evil going to descend upon us, Bobby Boucher, and eat us up. And that's how we act. Clemson has this fake, mainly the football team, but the people who takes up for the lack of truly optimally using and implementing NIL at Clemson. You take up for it like we are sitting on this high moral high ground, excuse me. I can't think, y'all. You act like that. We don't want that in our culture. It's a bad culture. I mean, it's allowed. And it's not like we're killing babies or something. It's not like we're smacking old women across the head and taking their pocketbooks. It's not like we're going in and stealing from anyone. It's not like we're covering up for somebody committing a crime. The rule says that through NIL, you can pay players. I don't like that there are coaches right now in the recent past who were guaranteed $70 million on a buyout, and what they did was they turned around and they stopped coaching really well and held their fan base hostage. And we get brutal with their fan base when their fan base would complain about the way that they were coaching because they knew they had a $75 million buyout. They were holding their fan base hostage. I don't like that. But all of a sudden, we have a problem with paying a kid coming out of high school. Now, how much money you pay these kids, like that one guy that's suing Billy Napier and that booster and everything. I mean, I looked at his numbers. I'm not knocking the young man. If they wanted to pay me $13 million to go to Gainesville, Florida, sure, I'll take it. But am I worth it? No. He was not like he was a once-in-a-lifetime player. I think he was ranked, in the top 300? I mean, come on, y'all. It's not like he's Trevor Lawrence. I question that, and that's fine. I'll tell you why we're not getting the big quarterbacks like we used to. See, the rules has changed since then. Trevor Lawrence would have been a multimillionaire over and over and over with NIL. So would have Deshaun Watson, maybe even Kelly Bryant. The rules have changed. And the reason that Ohio State has the quarterback room that they have, and if this one doesn't work out, they can go to this one, and if that one doesn't work out, they can go to that one. Sure, he'll transfer. It doesn't matter. But we got that, and you know why? And it's not just Ohio State, folks. It's a lot of schools across various positions and roles on the team. Are they just not offering these guys enough money coming out of high school? Well, that's not the way we're going to do it. Okay, that's great. You can retain the players once they get there. I understand that. I understand that there are players being paid right now through NIL, being paid on the Clemson team. I am not dumb to that. If you didn't make it to the 17-minute and 50-second mark and you've already ran your mouth about me not knowing that players are paid on Clemson's football team, that was happening before it was okay in some way. I'll guarantee it. I know in the past it has been. No, it's been the truth. It happened. You may not like it, but it's true. But my question is, why is Clemson not landing some of these big quarterbacks coming out of high school? Not the transfer portal, high school. That's what a lot of you were worried about. Why's Clemson losing recruits? No, let's be a little more specific. Why are they not landing once-in-a-lifetime quarterbacks like they used to? I don't know. Why are they not landing the creme la creme across the board while other teams are? Has Clemson already lost its effectiveness? Has its brand already declined that much? Money talks, folks. Money talks. And if Ohio State is offering $250,000 and Alabama is offering, $150,000 and Texas is offering, and I could keep naming out this, and then you get to Clemson and it's like, we're going to make sure you graduate. Next. Sorry. That's how it works. I want to get into the comment section over here. Big John, it's good to see Big John is a member of the channel. Thanks for supporting the channel on a monthly basis. He said that symbol beside his name, Big John. I think we all know the issue. Dabo pays NIL to people that earn the money. Other coaches pay NIL before the performance happens. This is the difficulty we're facing. You know, uh, yeah, yeah. I think the stubbornness on the transfer portal, I get to a point, but Clemson has. Mm, all I'm asking is why does Ohio State have 4 quarterbacks that could play anywhere, and Clemson, I mean, a team that has won 2 national championships since Ohio State has won theirs. How is it that they have more of a loaded room? It's because they're cheating. Guys, let's stop that. Let's stop that bull crap. I mean, I'm sorry. Let's quit. Are there some people out there cheating? Of course, they were cheating before. But let's not treat this as cheating. Well, they're cheating, and we're the upright Christian boys over here. Stop that crap. You're lying to yourself. Thanks for the comment, Big John. Big Red. Sweeney's antiquated approach to recruiting will ultimately hurt Clemson in the big scheme of things. Folks, I'm going to tell you this. Georgia is playing a different game than Clemson. Georgia is playing a different game than Clemson. The Clemson team that won like they did with 16 and 18 does not exist anymore. Now, they have some good coaches, especially on the defensive side of the ball. They have Matt Luke. Garrett Riley, I'm trying to still figure out what's going on there. And Clemson's trying to fix some bad coaching hires over the past. I've got to be careful what I say. I'm going to be careful what I say here by my own doing. I don't have anybody tell me what to say. Say what I want. Good, bad, or stupid. Hit the subscribe and join the. This is our fault. We need to pay Brian some NIL money. Thank you, Big John. Thank you, Charles. Glad you realize we need the portal. Hey, look. I am not a big portal guy. I am just a person who says, hey, look, if you have some areas that you could bridge the gap in, go ahead and do it. Keon Coleman, when he came out of Michigan State, went to Florida State, did he need development? No. The correct answer is no. It's the reason he caught 3 touchdowns against LSU and embarrassed them. It's the reason he caught the game-winning touchdown against us. Well, he sat out of the bowl game. Sure, he did. That's annoying. Didn't Jeremiah Trotter, who I love, by the way, I don't know him, I'm talking about the player. Didn't Nate Wiggins, who I think the world of, don't know him personally, I'm talking about his playing, I appreciate what he did for Clemson. Didn't they set out of the Gator Bowl? Oh, that pokes holes in your argument. Sorry. Happy 4th to you and your family. Keith, Mo, Florida State buddy. Recruiting is absurd. Sign today, gone next week. Back maybe by the time season starts. Crazy days. You're 100% right, my friend. There's a difference between Ohio State and Clemson NIL. That's what I'm afraid of, Jay. That's kind of my passing point. Hate to say it, but moving forward, probably we're going to have to start forking over some money to get the real ballers on campus. Thank you, Still Gamble, for supporting the channel. You said that symbol beside his name. He's Still Gamble supports the channel. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. Let me see. Cody Mumford, we're still top 10 recruiting class. Clemson seems to hang on to the Mayberry mentality. That's not always what big-time recruits want, says Big Red. Huh. Eric Weir, NIL cannot continue. Would be surprised to see this continue after another 5 years. I don't know. I think once that money starts flowing and the NCAA has been neutered, not to say they ever did anything good anyway, not to say that they shouldn't have some power taken away from them. I'm not anti-authority. I am anti-corrupt authority. And the NCAA is just but I don't think the money's going anywhere. Could be wrong. Won't be the first time. The Dylan Dave. Dabo has lost his image to these new recruits when most of the Reddit coaches and YouTube people are clowning on Dabo's stances. Hey, I try to be as respectful as I possibly can to a coach that gave us 2 national championships, and I don't believe Dabo's a bad guy whatsoever. Do I believe he's stubborn in his ways? And do I think that he actually believes he's better than the fan base? Absolutely. I do believe that he believes he's better than the fan base. And I stand by that decision. Um, Eric Weir, at least to the extent that he is now. Clemson has a whole has an NIL problem. Just a few months ago, Eric Bakich was pleading for more money. Yep. This is something that I've heard. One time I heard, oh, we have so much money, we can, wallpaper recruits in money. And then I hear this. So I've heard this a lot. We're going to go on down. Rustastic. The Georgia, Tennessee's, Ohio States of college football can promise winning and great NIL deals. You can't compete with simply winning and get the money later. Kids and their parents want it now. Rustastic, you're right. You're right. Going on down here. Look at NIL money for Brian. I love you, Big John. You're the man. Thank you. Thank you. It's good to see you, my friend. Good to see you. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. You didn't have to do that. You don't have to go. I love this right here. You don't have to go the FSU Colorado route in transfers to CC, but patching holes with experienced players is not a sin. I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. If it is available to you, why are you not using it? David Wood, this is a very interesting question. Why do you have beady weasel eyes? Well, I didn't get my eyebrows plucked today, so I look a little more weaselly. Don't know how to take that, but thanks, David. Clemson fans have the hope that NIL gets control because deep down we know we're at a disadvantage when it comes to money. Maybe so, Jay. I don't doubt that. I don't doubt that whatsoever, folks. Be honest. Why is Clemson not landing these big-time recruits like we used to? I'm talking about the quarterbacks, the guys who comes in, they change everything. The best offensive lineman in America. Why are we not seeing that, especially at the quarterback position? But Ohio State has seriously, I know you might be calling them buck nuts and all these little things that you like to call the Buckeyes because you don't like them. And I love Eric Boggs. He was on the show the other day. He's a big Ohio State guy. He's I work with him with the college huddle. I'm just going to say this. I appreciate him, and no offense, I'm not a Buckeye fan either, folks. I'm not. I don't sit around and do the whole Ohio cheer. Okay, I'm not. But I will tell you this: we need him. We need, or not need him. We need. I just read something that just was crazy. We need to know why Ohio State can get 4 unbelievable quarterbacks in their quarterback room. And right now, Clemson is having a difficult time of finding one good quarterback when we used to have unbelievable quarterbacks in our room. Chase Bryce, that talent, that was unbelievable. Why is it, folks? Will you tell me why? Would you riddle me that, Batman? I just ask you. Take your orange and white sunglasses off. Stop doing the tiger cheer. Stop drinking the Kool-Aid. I'm just asking you, how is it that they can do that? But for some reason, Clemson, a team who has won 2 national championships since Ohio State won their last one. Clemson should be way more relevant than Ohio State when it comes to the national picture because of the 2 national championships since Ohio State. How is it, folks? And don't give me the answer that Ohio State is the boogeyman. So is Texas. So is FSU. And the FSU, their quarterback situation, I'm not impressed with. They're landing. they're landing decent recruits in transfer portal. Please leave that answer below. Thank you so much for 67 of you in here. I hope you've subscribed. If you haven't subscribed, it's free. It's the easiest way to support the channel. Also, you can support the channel on a monthly basis, $3 or $5. I just created 2 tiers. Parker Henderson said, man, listen, it's so cheap. I don't even notice it coming out. Big John Setting in here, he says it's so cheap. I never see it come out of my bank account. So many people have said that. I do appreciate everyone who supported the channel. Folks, I'll catch you later. Happy 4th of July to you. I hope you'll be safe. Don't do anything. Really, don't do anything stupid. You take care of yourself. I'll catch you later on. Of course, go Tigers.